How could a city rise on a mountaintop more than 2,400 meters high, where clouds drift over each step? And how could the Incas, without wheels, without steel, without writing, have built Machu Picchu? Or is this place the product of a lost technology, a knowledge so advanced that it's beyond our understanding? Welcome to Machu Picchu, a city in the clouds of the Andes. More than just a tourist wonder, Machu Picchu is a giant question carved in stone. The complex multi-plane walls, the stone blocks as heavy as a house, all arranged so perfectly that not even an earthquake can shake them. Archaeologists say the Incas did it with only stone hammers and human power. But when we look at the ingenuity, at the absolutely tight zigzag joints, we can't help but ask, how did they do it? On this journey, we will climb misty stairs, walk between impossible stone walls, and listen to theories, from Inca techniques to lost technology, even alien secrets. Let Machu Picchu take us on a journey, both history and a dream that has never been solved. Part 1. Machu Picchu, the city in the clouds. If you arrive at Machu Picchu early in the morning, the first thing you will notice is not rocks, but clouds. Layers of white mist roll around the mountain peaks, gradually covering and revealing the silver-gray stone walls. The city seems to float in the sky, true to its common name, City in the Clouds. Machu Picchu is located at an altitude of 2,430 meters above sea level, surrounded by the majestic Andes. The location is both rugged and majestic. On one side is a steep cliff. Below is the Urubamba River curving like a silk strip. In the distance are dark green mountain peaks. The Incas chose this place to build not because of convenience, but because of the sacredness and eternity it evokes. Here, every stone, every terraced field, every small path clings to the terrain. Instead of fighting against nature, they have blended with it. It is this symbiosis that makes Machu Picchu both artificial and natural, both real and dreamlike. A secret kept hidden, while the Egyptian pyramids or Greek temples have been mentioned for thousands of years. Machu Picchu has quietly sunk into oblivion. When the Spanish invaded Peru in the 16th century, they destroyed many Inca structures, but they never found Machu Picchu. This remains a mystery to this day. Did the Incas intentionally keep it hidden, letting only a few people know the way in? Or was it simply the rugged terrain that kept it from the eyes of invaders? Either way, it was this hiddenness that protected Machu Picchu. For 400 years, the city slept, with only a few small communities living nearby knowing about it, calling it by local names that Bingham later recorded. And then, when explorer Hiram Bingham was led in 1911, Machu Picchu appeared like a dream, a city preserved almost intact, as if time had forgotten it. To fully feel the magic of Machu Picchu, you must hike the Inca Trail for at least 4 days. You will pass through clouds, cross rivers, climb mountains, walk through ancient tunnels. But once you see those first steps leading up to the temple, everything will be worth it. You can take a train to get closer, but the last section still has to be walked. As you walk along the trail, your heart beats faster. Suddenly, before your eyes is a wide plaza paved with huge stones. On the right is a temple with 3 floors leaning against the mountain like a giant altar. In front of it is a perfectly round fountain. To the left is a residential area with long corridors, interconnected rooms, each with a window overlooking the valley or mountain. Everywhere are stairs, ramps, walls, aqueducts, warehouses, all built with such precision that you can only marvel at it. The more you explore, the more questions you have. Who lived here, and why did they leave? Where did the stones come from, and how were they moved? What secrets do the plants hold? Why does this place look so familiar, yet so strange? Unfortunately, there are no answers to these questions. The Incas did not leave behind any documents. They did not use a writing system. Their history is kept in oral tradition, but most of it was lost when the Spanish destroyed their villages and forced them to abandon their culture. so we can only guess at the city's history and purpose. Some say Machu Picchu was an estate for Pachacati, the ninth Inca ruler. He reigned from 1438 to 1471, and is said to have expanded his empire to its greatest extent, both north and south. Others say Machu Picchu was a religious center where the Inca elite came to pray to the stars. However, we cannot deny that no matter who lived here and what their intentions were, Machu Picchu was definitely a ceremonial center. There is evidence that rituals were performed here related to water and the sun. The fountain, the aqueduct, and the sundial all point to this. Water was channeled from the mountains through pipes hidden under the rocks, forming a large pool in the lower town. It may have been used for cleaning, drinking, or irrigating crops. But what intrigues us the most is that it still contains water today, 100 years after it was discovered. No leaks, no evaporation, nothing. This is truly a miracle of engineering that even modern science cannot explain. Likewise, the astronomical observatory. Built on the top of a mountain, it overlooks the entire valley. The Inca emperor could stand on a stone platform and read the constellations, predict the seasons, watch the solstices. This is what legend has it. In reality, Machu Picchu is full of legends, stories passed down from generation to generation about gods, ancestors, and prophecies. You can hear them from local guides, who seem to know everything about the ruins, though much of it may be myth. Yet it's precisely these myths that make Machu Picchu so fascinating, a place where the real and the fantastic seem to merge. Machu Picchu is more than just a tourist attraction. It's a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of the Inca people. It's also a reminder of the mysteries that still remain in our world. So next time you plan to visit Peru, don't forget to put Machu Picchu on your list. Part 2. The Incas and the mystery of their heritage. That stretched across the Andes. Imagine an empire that had no riding or wheels, yet controlled territory. Stretching more than 4,000 kilometers along the Andes, from southern Colombia to present-day Chile. That was the Inca Empire. The Incas built a vast network of roads, more than 40,000 kilometers long, connecting valleys, mountains, and deserts. Along those roads, messages were not carried by written letters, but by relay runners, and by quipu, colorful knotted ropes, whose code we still haven't fully deciphered. Such a society, driven by discipline and collective labor, turned the rugged mountains into places where they could grow crops, live, and build monumental structures. But the more we learn about the Incas, the more surprising it becomes. They did all this without the basic tools we think are necessary to build a city like Machu Picchu. No steel, no wheels, no riding. The Incas did not know about wheels for transportation. They had llamas, but these animals were only good for carrying light loads, not for moving heavy stones. They had no iron or steel, using only soft stone or bronze tools. So how did the huge slabs of granite, so hard that even modern steel would struggle to work with them, get cut and fitted so perfectly? They also had no writing to record their construction techniques. Any secrets, if any, were passed down orally and disappeared with the fall of the empire after the Spanish arrived. It is this gap that has led many scholars and mystery lovers to believe, were Machu Picchu and similar structures not entirely created by the Incas, but inherited from a more ancient knowledge? Royal city or sacred place? According to the orthodox hypothesis, Machu Picchu was built under Pachacati, the greatest Inca emperor. It is believed that this was a royal resort city, where the king and the aristocracy could escape the crowded Cusco. But the location of Machu Picchu raises many questions. Why was such a difficult place to reach? It takes hours of dangerous climbing to get there. While Cusco was already a well-equipped capital, many other researchers believe that Machu Picchu was not only a place of residence, but also a religious center. Structures such as the Temple of the Sun or Intihuatana, the sun-binding column, all show a connection to ritual and astronomy. Perhaps this was the Inca sky-earth axis, a point of connection between man and the cosmos. The legacy of Machu Picchu today, we can only marvel at the genius of the Inca builders. What techniques did they use to cut through the hard granite? How did they carry the stones up the mountain without any machines? And why did they choose this remote area for such an important site? Unfortunately, we may never know the answers to these questions. The Inca civilization, which reached its peak around the time of Pachacuti, collapsed just a century later. The Spanish conquered it and destroyed much of what the Incas had achieved. When Hiram Bingham, the American explorer, rediscovered Machu Picchu in 1911, he was convinced that this was the legendary lost city of the Incas Patiti. His enthusiasm and some alleged connections to the Nazis led to large-scale excavations and the construction of a tourist infrastructure. Since then, more than 1.5 million people have visited Machu Picchu every year. However, recent research has shown that Bingham was wrong. Machu Picchu was not the capital of the Incas. We have not even found the center of the Inca Empire. It seems that the further we uncover the mysteries of Machu Picchu, the more questions arise. Did the Incas really build everything themselves? Was it a religious center or a royal residence? And above all, what secrets do the mountains still hold? Part 3. Inca construction techniques. How did they do it? Experts agree that Machu Picchu was built over a period of 50 years. How could they finish such a masterpiece in such a short time? Today we will travel to the heart of Peru to unravel the secret behind the Incas' ability to build Machu Picchu so quickly. Watch this episode to find out how they did it. A large number of workers. The Incas didn't build Machu Picchu in a year, nor in 10 years, but over 50 years. Why? Because it was built by many hands. In fact, scientists estimate that about 10,000 workers worked on building the citadel. This figure comes from an estimation of the workforce needed to construct one of the palaces at the site. And since there are several palaces in the Inca citadel, it is reasonable to assume that the number of workers was much higher. This work was not based on slave labor. On the contrary, the Incas treated those who built their cities and temples as important members of society. Builders received food and clothing and were paid a salary. Moreover, working on the construction of the great Inca sites was considered a great honor. Many volunteers came here. Each worker wanted to contribute to the glory of the empire and leave his mark in history. 50 years is enough time to create something truly beautiful. Organization and planning. To build Machu Picchu, the Incas had to plan ahead. They organized their work and kept detailed records. Unfortunately, there are no written records left, but archaeologists have found ceramic tablets with pictures of workers, animals, and tools. Perhaps this is a pictorial representation of the organization of work on the construction of the Inca cities. Scientists suggest that each master kept a tablet with images depicting the progress of work and stored it in a special place. Thanks to this, the builders knew exactly what stage of construction was going on throughout the empire. Archaeologists also found clay cones, possibly used as measuring instruments. The Incas probably used them to check the quality of the masonry. Cones were placed vertically and horizontally until the perfect position was achieved. Inca construction techniques. How did they do it? Machu Picchu is most amazing is the ashlar stone walls. This is a technique that the Incas perfected. Granite and diorite blocks, sometimes weighing tens of tons, were cut to fit together so well that they did not need mortar. If you stood in front of a wall at Machu Picchu and tried to squeeze a piece of paper or even a hair into the joint, you would fail. The stones fit so tightly that even earthquakes could not separate them. That is why, when many structures in Cusco and the Andes collapsed in major earthquakes, the Inca walls in Machu Picchu remained standing. The Incas created complex shapes of stones with many zigzag sections, to lock them together like a giant 3D jigsaw puzzle. The more you look, the more you feel that this is not just a technique, but a mysterious art form. Cutting and grinding hard stone, with what? The biggest problem is the tools. Granite and diorite are extremely hard. With soft bronze and stone tools, how could the Incas cut, grind, and create such sharp blocks? One theory is that they used harder stones like diorite to tap, gradually grind other stones. But to create sophistication on a city-wide scale, this method would have taken centuries. Some archaeologists believe that they may have used quartz sand, a very hard mineral, combined with water to grind the stone surface. This may explain part of it, but it still doesn't answer. How did they achieve near-perfect precision in the multifaceted blocks? Transporting the stones, an impossible journey. Machu Picchu is not just small stones in place. Some of the large stones are believed to have been quarried from miles away. So how did the Incas transport them to an altitude of 2,430 meters? They had no wheels, no large sleds, no horses or elephants. They only had llamas, but llamas could only carry small loads, up to 40 to 50 kilograms. Archaeology suggests that they used human power, ropes, wooden rollers, and a system of ramps. But imagine hundreds of people dragging a 20-ton stone up a narrow, winding, slippery mountain slope. One mistake, and the whole block would roll down the cliff. This raises the question, were all the large stones at Machu Picchu actually transported, or were some of them already there, cut right into the rock? Earthquake-resistant architecture, Inca walls often sloped slightly inward and had many irregular sections. This makes them resistant to earthquakes. When the ground shakes, instead, as far as we know, the Inca walls at Machu Picchu were built according to this principle. And the fact that there are almost no earthquake records from the time of the Incas, this may mean that their buildings helped the residents to survive the tremors. This is an advanced technique that modern engineers still appreciate today. In Cusco, the ancient Inca walls have survived many earthquakes, while colonial brick and mortar structures have been destroyed. Thus, Machu Picchu is not only beautiful, but also incredibly durable. Art in harmony with nature, the Incas did not destroy mountains to build Machu Picchu. They exploited the terrain itself. Sharp rocks became the foundation, the slopes turned into terraces, streams became water channels. This gives Machu Picchu a special beauty. It is not forced, but as if nature had shaped it in advance. The Incas simply liberated a city from the rocks and mountains. Unanswered questions. Although archaeologists have proposed many hypotheses, there are still gaps that are difficult to fill. How could they cut hard stone with bronze tools? How could they transport tens of tons of stone up high mountains? How did they achieve absolute sophistication in multi-sided zigzag joints? Each question makes Machu Picchu like an unsolved puzzle. And it is these gaps that have created conditions for outside hypotheses to appear, turning Machu Picchu into a symbol of impossible architecture. In conclusion, let us recall once again that the Incas did not build Machu Picchu in a short time. For half a century, tens of thousands of workers created this city, but this does not make it less amazing. No wonder Hiram Bingham called it the most elegant and monumental structure of the Incas and one of the greatest monuments of man. In contact with the Inca Empire was the last great civilization to thrive in pre-Columbian America before the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. At its greatest extent, the empire stretched for roughly 3,000 miles from north to south along the Andean mountains. Yet despite their impressive road system, which connected distant provinces, little is known about how communication was achieved in this vast empire. While knotted ropes served as the primary means of record-keeping and information transfer, archaeological evidence suggests that the Incas may have also utilized a sophisticated relay system of runners to disseminate messages and goods across their extensive realm. This innovative approach to transportation allowed the Inca rulers to effectively govern their subjects living far from the imperial center. Additionally, the same system ensured the efficient coordination of labor forces for large-scale public works projects such as the famous Inca citadel of Machu Picchu. To further strengthen their control over the empire, the Incas employed a network of spies and informants who played a crucial role in maintaining social order and stability. By utilizing a combination of runner networks and a corps of spies, the Incas successfully managed one of the largest and most geographically diverse empires in pre-Columbian America. What are your thoughts on this? Part 4. The problem with the orthodox explanation. What did the ancient builders use to cut stone? To answer this question, follow me on a journey back in time and discover an amazing legacy of the Inca Empire. Welcome to the channel. In today's episode, we will explore how the Inca builders constructed buildings from incredibly hard stone, including the world-famous Machu Picchu. You will see how they managed to cut through solid granite without advanced tools. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel by clicking the button below. Help us reach 1 million subscribers and become the most popular science channel in the world. Let's start with the problem. If you go to the famous archaeological complex of Machu Picchu and stand in front of its stone wall and press your hand against it, you will immediately feel something unbelievable. The stones are as hard as a room. Some of them weigh several tons. Now imagine the same wall from the other side. Here you can push your finger through the stones like through butter. They are so thin that they cannot even hold up a thin knife. But what is even more surprising? All this is located on a peak more than 2,000 meters above sea level, far away from the rocks. Scientists say that the Inca did it with belts, rolling logs, and human power. But let's think about it. Hundreds of people drag a block of stone up a slide. Just one slip, and the whole block will fall into the abyss forever. It's hard not to ask, can they really do it? But that's not the only question. This is also the way to join the stones. If you just want to build a wall, the simplest way is to cut them into square blocks and join them together. But the Incas chose the zigzag way, complex multifaceted stones, like messy 3D puzzle pieces. Why so complicated? Maybe they thought about earthquake resistance. Maybe they wanted absolute certainty. But maybe they didn't want any of these. Maybe they simply knew exactly how to join stones together without using mortar. Next question, tools. The Inca didn't have steel, only bronze, which was too soft to cut granite, which was much harder than their tools. So how did they get those perfectly flat stone surfaces? Researchers think they could have used quartz sand to grind or used harder stones to hammer. But could they have made a whole city with hundreds of large and small blocks of stone using this method? And finally, the silence of history. The Egyptians updated the drawings of the pyramids. The Romans copied the construction methods, built for profit. But the Incas left almost no words. No drawings, no writings, no detailed instructions. Only tools, we have the minimum methods. It is this void that has led many to ask, were they not the first to build Machu Picchu, but were they simply influenced by a lost knowledge? The zigzag walls, the precious stones, the tool diagrams, and the silence of history, they all combine to form a series of unanswered questions. And the deeper we look, the more we get the feeling that Machu Picchu doesn't stand alone. It may be part of a global architectural language, a mysterious network of impossible structures that ancient builders around the world experienced. By understanding how the Inca built Machu Picchu, we gain insight into the ingenious techniques and tools of these remarkable people. Their ability to harness the power of stone is truly awe-inspiring. The Inca builders mastered the art of cutting and joining stones without using advanced tools, leaving behind a legacy that continues to amaze us today. There's been so much interest in the ancient Inca citadel of Machu Picchu, partially because it's such an enigma. However, When you look at Machu Picchu on its own, it's actually quite easy to understand why it's so mysterious. It looks like a city frozen in time, which doesn't fit into our historical narrative. In this video, I want to change your perspective. Instead of looking at just Machu Picchu, let us take a step back and explore 5 more similar sites which don't fit into our understanding of history. Once we put all of these places together, we start to get a bigger picture of a lost past and ancient technologies that may have once been commonplace, but have since been lost. So join me on this amazing journey through ancient stone structures that pose a lot of questions and even more mysteries. Part 5, Machu Picchu and Other Stone Structures 1. Sacsayhuamán, the impossible stone wall just outside Cusco, the ancient capital of the Incas. You will encounter Sacsayhuamán, a giant stone fortress. The walls here are tens of meters high, forming 3 layers of serrated steps, winding like a giant stone snake. What makes Sacsayhuamán astonishing is not only its scale, but the size of each stone block. Some of the stones weigh more than 100 tons, double or triple the largest block in Machu Picchu. They are tightly fitted, zigzag on many sides, without a single gap. Standing in front of Sacsayhuamán, you almost cannot believe that the same civilization as Machu Picchu built this, only with bronze and stone. Machu Picchu is a mystery, but Sacsayhuamán is a naked challenge to our imagination. 2. Ollantaytambo, the stone blocks that cross the mountain. Also in the Sacred Valley near Cusco, Ollantaytambo presents another puzzle. Here, giant stones, weighing about 50 tons, stand upright in the unfinished Temple of the Sun. The strange thing is that these stones were not taken on site. They were transported from a quarry more than 10 kilometers away. And to get to Ollantaytambo, you had to cross a deep river and steep mountains. No one knows exactly how the stones got there. The popular theory is that the Incas dragged the stones up the steep path and built a wooden bridge. But when you imagine hundreds of people dragging a 50-ton block over the mountainside, the impossibility becomes clear. 3. Punku, ancient industry? If Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuamán overwhelm you with their scale, Punku, located in the Tiwanaku complex in Bolivia, will astound you with its precision. Here, andesite and diorite blocks are cut into A-shapes, with straight edges as if using an industrial chainsaw. The drill holes are perfectly round. The deep grooves are smooth, like the products of a modern factory. The Tiwanaku, a culture that existed before the Incas, did not leave many traces of technology. Yet Punku still stands there, defying all explanations. Some outside researchers even call it alien technology evidence. 4. Echoes from Egypt, Petra, Ellora. The strange thing is that these mysteries do not only appear in the Andes. In Egypt, the hundreds of tons of granite blocks in the Kafur Pyramid or the Valley Temple still baffle archaeologists. In Petra, facades are carved straight into the sandstone cliffs to an unbelievable degree. In Ellora, India, the Kailasa Temple was carved out of a basalt mountain, removing more than 200,000 tons of stone to create a single structure. Each place has its own story, but the common theme is impossible structures that go beyond what we thought the technology of the time could do. The impossible architecture, when you put them all together, Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuamán, Ollantaytambo, Punku, Egypt, Petra, Ellora. You get a series of stone paradoxes that span the planet. How could ancient civilizations, thousands of kilometers and thousands of years apart, leave behind structures that share the same characteristics? Massive stone blocks, almost industrial precision, and the silence of history? Is this just a coincidence, or is there some stream of knowledge, a lost technology, that existed and then disappeared? Whenever you look at Machu Picchu in the mist, you will see that it does not stand alone. It is a piece of a global puzzle, where the stones seem to know secrets that we have forgotten. How could the Incas, living 500 years ago in South America, build such incredible stone structures? This is the question that continues to intrigue scientists today. We know that the Incas were skilled builders and engineers, but the complexity of their stonework is baffling. The precision with which they cut and fitted the stones together is truly remarkable. At sites like Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuamán, the stones are so well crafted that you can barely fit a blade of grass between them. This level of precision suggests the use of advanced tools and techniques, yet we have found no evidence of such technology. The transportation of massive stone blocks remains a mystery. Moving large stones is a challenging task, even today with our advanced equipment. But the Incas managed to transport stones weighing several tons across rugged terrain. How they achieved this feat without using wheels or metal tools is a puzzle. One theory suggests they used a combination of rollers, levers, and inclined planes to move the stones. However, this method would have been extremely labor-intensive and time-consuming. Another theory proposes that the Incas had advanced knowledge of engineering and used techniques such as counterweight and pulley systems to move the stones. But there is no concrete evidence to support either theory. The truth is, the Incas' methods of moving these massive stones remain unknown. Then there is the issue of how the Inca has created such detailed geometric patterns and structures without any sophisticated measuring devices. The accuracy of their work is astounding. For example, at Puma, Punku, the stones are cut with such precision that they fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. Even modern scientists struggle to understand how the Incas achieved this level of accuracy without using advanced tools or technology. The geometric complexity of their structures suggests a deep understanding of mathematics and astronomy. Some researchers speculate that the Incas had a sophisticated understanding of geometry and used astronomical alignments to help them construct their buildings. This is supported by the fact that many Inca sites are aligned with important astronomical events such as the solstices and equinoxes. Furthermore, the Inca's ability to work with stone is particularly remarkable when you consider the alternative materials available to them. The Incas lived in a region rich in gold and silver, yet they chose stone as their primary building material. This suggests that they had a deep respect for stone and saw it as a superior material to metals. Their reverence for stone is evident in the care and precision with which they worked it. Unlike their contemporaries, who often used crude stone tools, the Incas developed sophisticated tools made from more durable materials like bronze and bone. These tools enabled them to achieve a level of precision that was previously unattainable. Unfortunately, much of what we know about Inca culture was lost due to the Spanish conquest. The Spanish chroniclers who documented Inca history often focused on the Inca's religious beliefs and customs rather than their technology and engineering. As a result, we have little written documentation on the Incas' building techniques and the tools they used. Most of what we know comes from archaeological evidence and speculation. As you explore the ruins of Machu Picchu and other Inca sites, remember that you're witnessing the legacy of a civilization that thrived 500 years ago in South America. The Incas left behind a rich cultural heritage, including their impressive stone structures that continue to captivate us today. While many mysteries surround their building techniques, the Inca's ingenuity and craftsmanship remain evident in every stone they carefully placed and every temple they constructed. The Incas were a highly skilled and resourceful civilization, and their ability to create these masterpieces without advanced technology is a testament to their dedication and perseverance. Though much of their history was lost to time, the Inca's legacy lives on in their remarkable stone structures and the awe they inspire in those who behold them. Now, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on the mysteries surrounding the construction of Machu Picchu? Do you think there was a lost technology involved, or is there some other explanation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the journey through these amazing stone structures. Part 6. explaining the technology beyond the time. Built around the year 1450 AD, abandoned 100 years later. Its discovery by the modern world in 1911. But its origins, who built it and how, continue to raise questions that go beyond mainstream theories. Let's explore some of the lesser-known ideas about how Machu Picchu was built. Welcome to this channel, where we bring you the finest selection of weird, wacky, and wonderful stories from around the globe. Please subscribe to show your support for us. Let's start with one of the most perplexing aspects of the site, its near-perfect stonework. The two most famous theories about Machu Picchu's construction are its age and its builders. While most agree that the Inca Pachacuti built it in the mid-1400s, some argue it's much older, perhaps part of a pre-Inca civilization. This leads to another question. How could an ancient people, without advanced tools, build something so precise? Enter the theory of technology beyond time. Soft stone, legend, or truth? One of the strangest theories about Machu Picchu and the Inca structures is the stone softening theory. The theory that the ancients had a way to soften the stone. Some Peruvian folklore says that the Incas possessed herbs that could melt the surface of the stone, making it as soft as clay. The craftsmen would simply press two slabs of stone together, and they would fit together, then harden again, like the original granite. There is no direct archaeological evidence for this theory. But looking at the intricate, perfectly tight zigzag joints, many believe that this could be a more reasonable explanation than thousands of hours of hammering with bronze tools. Sound and vibration. Another theory with a touch of science fiction. The ancients used sound and vibration to cut and move the stone. In many ancient cultures, there are legends about singing to make rocks fly and trumpets to make rocks shake. In Bolivia, some Aymara legends say that their ancestors used giant drums and flutes to lift rocks. Today, science knows that sound waves can affect matter, even breaking glass or making sand grains form shapes. If some technology could harness sound waves on a large scale, moving or cutting stone might not be impossible. Lost superhard tools? A more plausible approach. It is possible that the Incas or a civilization before them had superhard metal tools that are now lost. If they had alloys containing nickel, tungsten, or some other substance that we have not yet discovered, cutting granite might be possible. But so far, archaeologists have found no evidence of such tools, only chisels made of bronze or stone. So, if there was one, which civilization did it disappear with? Ancient aliens. This is the most famous theory in popular culture. Machu Picchu, like Sacsayhuamán or Puma Punku, may have been the product of extraterrestrial intervention. The logic is simple. If these structures are beyond the capabilities of humans with primitive tools, then someone must have helped. Maybe aliens or a superior civilization from the distant past. Images of zigzag walls, stone blocks that look like they were cut by lasers, are often cited as evidence by the Ancient Aliens program. Of course, this theory lacks scientific basis, but it has a strong appeal because it takes our imaginations beyond this planet. Ancient global knowledge? Another softer theory is that Machu Picchu was not alone. It is just one piece of a global ancient knowledge. There may have been a prehistoric civilization. Before the Incas, before the Egyptians, before the Sumerians, that possessed massive, precise construction technology. When that civilization disappeared, due to disaster, disease, or climate change, they left behind a legacy of stone. The Incas simply inherited and reused Machu Picchu, just as the Nabateans may have inherited Petra. This hypothesis is unproven. But when you pair Machu Picchu with Puma Punku, Petra, Ellora, Egypt, you see a common denominator that is hard to ignore. Each of these theories, from the fantastical to the grounded, adds a layer to the mystery of Machu Picchu. While mainstream science tends to focus on the Inca origins, The more outlandish ideas serve as a reminder that human ingenuity and the limits of our understanding are perhaps the greatest mysteries of all. So, what do you think? Do you believe that the Incas built Machu Picchu with conventional methods, letting their ingenuity shine through sheer manpower and creativity? Or do you lean towards the idea that there was something more, a lost technology, ancient knowledge, or even extraterrestrial influence that played a part in the creation of this enigmatic site? Do you find the ancient alien theory intriguing, or do you dismiss it as unscientific? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Part 7. The Breathing City. Terraced fields and eternal water. If you look at Machu Picchu from afar, you will see stone walls that not only form houses and temples, but also hug the mountainside, turning into terraced fields. Each terraced field is like a giant ladder leading to the sky, covered in lush green in the rainy season, golden in the dry season. But the terraced fields in Machu Picchu are not just beautiful. They are designed to prevent landslides, one of the biggest dangers in the high mountains. Each terraced field is made up of many layers, large boulders at the bottom to drain water. Above that is a layer of gravel, then a layer of sand, and finally fertile soil. Thanks to this structure, heavy rains do not flood, but gradually seep down, then drain away. As a result, the fierce rains in the Andes cannot destroy Machu Picchu. On the contrary, rainwater is utilized, the land remains fertile, and the city has remained firmly attached to the mountain for centuries. Water channels, the lifeblood of the mountains. Right in the city, you will encounter small stone channels flowing between the paths. That is the sophisticated water system of Machu Picchu. The Incas exploited a stream from the mountainside, channeled water through a series of underground and open channels, distributing it evenly throughout the city. The water flowed into the residential area, irrigated the terraced fields, and then drained into the river. This system worked continuously, sustainably, and surprisingly, is still in use today. Modern engineers have studied and found that the design is not only smart, but also has precise calculations of water flow, slope, and pressure. At an altitude of nearly 2,500 meters, where there are no large rivers or reservoirs, Machu Picchu still has a stable water source for hundreds of residents. That is a quiet feat that is rarely mentioned. Agricultural Research Center? Some scholars believe that Machu Picchu was not only a royal city or place of pilgrimage, but also a center for agricultural research. On the terraces, the Incas could grow a variety of crops, from corn and potatoes to coca and herbs. In particular, thanks to its location between the different climates of the Andes, Machu Picchu could have been a place for agricultural experimentation, where the Incas found suitable crops to spread throughout the empire. This makes even more sense when we know that the Incas were masters of agriculture. They domesticated hundreds of varieties of potatoes, corn, and quinoa. They had techniques for preserving food in natural cold storage. And Machu Picchu, with its perfect water system and terraces, could have been their green laboratory. A breathing city. When you put it all together, self-draining terraces, elaborate stream channels, diverse soils, Machu Picchu is more than just an impossible set of stone walls. It is a city that breathes, that functions like a living organism. Rain falls, gives seeps through the soil, gives flows into the channels, gives waters. The fields gives returns to the river. This cycle makes Machu Picchu a place that is both sustainable and in harmony with nature. Perhaps this is the real secret that has kept the city alive for centuries. Not just the stonework, but the art of living with the mountains and clouds. After knowing about the genius construction and planning of the Inca city, Machu Picchu is rightly considered one of the most mysterious places in the world. Everything in this ancient city seems to be imbued with a special meaning. Recently, we shared stories about how the Inca king's road led to America, or the tragic fate of the last Inca ruler. Now let's talk about the secrets of the most mysterious sites in Machu Picchu. So let's go. Part 8. Machu Picchu, where people talk to the sun. The Temple of the Sun, where light touches the stone. In the middle of Machu Picchu is a semicircular structure, the stone walls gently curving around a large rock. That is the Temple of the Sun, the most sacred place. On the winter solstice, when the sun rises, the first rays of light pass through a small window and shine directly on the central stone. Without any deviation, the Incas designed the light and the stone to meet at the only moment of the year as a cosmic ritual. You can imagine, hundreds of years ago, Inca priests stood in silence, watching the sun shine into the temple, considering it proof that the cosmic order was still maintained. Intihuatana, the pillar that binds the sun. One of the most mysterious places in Machu Picchu is Intihuatana, a stone carved into a square cylinder placed on a high pedestal. Its name means the place where the sun is bound. According to researchers, Intihuatana was used for astronomical observations. On the days of the spring and autumn equinoxes, when the sun is in the middle position, the shadow of Intihuatana almost disappears. The Incas believed that thanks to the ritual here, they could keep the sun from disappearing during the long cold winter. Today, visitors still say that when they touch Intihuatana, they feel a strange energy. Although science has not confirmed it, the name sun binding alone is enough to give Machu Picchu a mysterious color, alignment with the sacred mountain. Machu Picchu is not just a city on a mountain. It is also aligned with the sacred peaks around it. The Huayna Picchu Peak that towers behind the city is considered the abode of the gods. Many of Machu Picchu's streets and windows are oriented to look straight at Huayna Picchu, as if the city were always raising its head toward the gods. The entire layout of Machu Picchu even reflects the image of the condor, a sacred bird in Andean culture, a symbol of the sky and a connection to the world above. The city as a cosmic observatory. When you put it all together, the Temple of the Sun, the Intihuatana, the astronomical alignment windows, the connection to the sacred mountain, you realize that Machu Picchu is not just a place to live, but a giant cosmic observatory. Here, man and nature, stone and light, time and space are all one. The Incas created Machu Picchu not just to live in, but to have a dialogue with the sky, an axis between heaven and earth. In the Inca religion, the world was divided into 3 levels: Hanan Pasha, heaven; K Pasha, earth; and Aku Pasha, the underworld. Machu Picchu, with its location above the clouds, could be seen as an intermediate point, an axis between heaven and earth. And perhaps it was this belief that drove them to put so much effort into building the city in such a dangerous place, not to make life easier, but to live closer to the universe. Part 9. Machu Picchu, the Road to the Sun God. Today, we'll explore what life was really like in this mysterious Inca city. What secrets lie hidden in its stones? Was it truly an imperial residence? Or was there another purpose behind its construction? Let's start our journey into the depths of the past and uncover the secrets of Machu Picchu. But first, let's take a moment to reflect on your support. If you're a regular viewer, thank you for staying with us. Our mission is to bring history to life in the most engaging way possible. So if you love what we do and would like to support us in creating more quality historical content, please consider becoming a member. Your support means a lot to us and helps us continue sharing history with you. Now let's continue with the story of the great Inca city. Inca City. When we imagine the Inca Empire, images of vast palaces, intricately carved temples, and bustling marketplaces come to mind. However, new discoveries suggest that Machu Picchu may have had a different function. Archaeologists have found no evidence of homes, workshops, or public buildings. Only ceremonial areas, temples, and a royal residence. This suggests that Machu Picchu may have been a religious and administrative center rather than a residential city. This theory is supported by the absence of domestic animals, pottery, and utensils that would indicate everyday life. Mysterious entrance. Access to the sacred complex was strictly controlled, suggesting that not everyone was welcome. The main entrance to the city was through the Sun Gate, which was designed to align with the winter solstice sunrise. Only those who had made the long and difficult journey could enter the city. On the summer solstice, the setting sun disappears behind the symmetrical mountain peaks of Machu Picchu and the Huayan, creating a breathtaking view. This suggests that the Inca rulers carefully planned the city's location to honor the sun god and use it for important ceremonies. Who built Machu Picchu? Legend has it that Pachacati, the 9th Inca ruler, ordered the construction of Machu Picchu as his country estate around 1450. He wanted to build a retreat away from the hustle and bustle of the empire's capital in Cusco. According to legend, Pachacati dreamed of a place where he could enjoy nature and connect with the divine. His dream became reality when he discovered a fertile valley surrounded by majestic mountains. Here, high above the clouds, the air was cool and fresh, making it an ideal place to escape the heat of the lowlands. The Great Fortress. Over the next century, Machu Picchu grew into a major religious center, second only to the capital. The Inca rulers and their retinues arrived here twice a year to perform rituals honoring the sun god. The largest temple, the Temple of the Sun, was built in the shape of a puma, the sacred animal of the Inca. Its pointed roof symbolized the snow-capped mountains surrounding the valley. Inside the temple, an altar made of pink granite rose majestically. It was used for ceremonies honoring the sun god Inti. To this day, the altar remains one of the most impressive monuments in Machu Picchu, a royal residence. The royal residence was located on the highest terrace in the city. From here, the Inca rulers could enjoy a panoramic view of the entire valley. The palace consisted of several interconnected buildings, connected by steep staircases and narrow corridors. It was decorated with colorful murals depicting scenes from Inca mythology. The walls were also covered with astronomical tables, showing the positions of stars and constellations. This indicates that the Inca rulers saw themselves as intermediaries between heaven and earth, responsible for maintaining balance in the universe. Gardens and agriculture. Despite its religious significance, Machu Picchu was also a self-sufficient city. The Inca built extensive gardens and agricultural terraces on the slopes of the surrounding mountains. They grew crops such as potatoes, corn, and tomatoes, which provided food for the city's inhabitants. The terraces were also used for religious ceremonies in which the fertility of the soil was honored. In addition to agriculture, the Inca kept livestock, including llamas, alpacas, and guinea pigs. Their wool was used for textiles, and their meat was a source of protein for the population. Trade and craftsmanship. Trade played an important role in the Inca Empire, and Machu Picchu was no exception. The city had a central square where merchants traded goods from all over the empire. The most important trading partners were the coastal regions where textiles, ceramics, and metal objects were produced. In addition, goldsmiths and silversmiths worked in Machu Picchu, creating exquisite jewelry and ornaments for the Inca nobility. These works of art were not only symbols of wealth and power, but also served as a link to the gods. Life in the city. Life in Machu Picchu was heavily influenced by the Inca's religious beliefs. Every aspect of daily life was regulated by a strict social hierarchy. At the top of society were the Inca rulers and their families, followed by the nobility, priests, and warriors. At the bottom were the farmers, artisans, and servants. Religious festivals were an integral part of daily life in the Inca Empire. In Machu Picchu, there were festivals honoring all aspects of nature, including the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, and the animals. The most important festival was Inti Raymi, the festival of the sun, which took place annually on the winter solstice. During the festivities, The Inca rulers and other members of the nobility paraded through the streets in colorful costumes, and offerings were made to the sun god, decline and abandonment. The Inca Empire reached its peak during the reign of Pachacuti, but it did not last long. After Pachacuti's death, civil wars broke out among his successors, weakening the empire. At the same time, the Spanish began exploring the coast of South America. When Francisco Pizarro conquered the Inca Empire in the 16th century, Machu Picchu was already in decline. The Spanish conquistadors destroyed many of the Inca's religious centers, including temples and shrines. This, coupled with the introduction of European diseases to which the Inca had no immunity, led to a sharp decline in population. The once magnificent city was abandoned and fell into oblivion, a forgotten city. For centuries, Machu Picchu remained hidden from the outside world, shrouded in mist and legend. The city was swallowed by the jungle and forgotten by the world. Only a few people knew of its existence, referring to it by local names, but it was not part of their everyday lives. It was until 1911 that the American explorer Hiram Bingham rediscovered Machu Picchu and brought it to the attention of the modern world. Since then, millions of visitors have come to marvel at the ruins of the Inca city. The mystery remains. Although archaeologists have made significant progress in understanding Machu Picchu, many questions remain unanswered. Why was the city built in such a remote location? What was the purpose of the city? And what led to its downfall? These mysteries continue to captivate researchers and visitors alike. Conclusion. Life in Machu Picchu was deeply intertwined with the Incas' religious beliefs. The city was not just a place of worship, but a way of life. The Inca rulers saw themselves as intermediaries between heaven and earth, and their actions were guided by the belief that they must keep the cosmos in balance. While much about Machu Picchu remains a mystery, one thing is clear: the Inca created a unique and harmonious city that continues to captivate us today. The ruins of Machu Picchu serve as a reminder of the ingenuity and creativity of the Inca people and their profound connection to the natural world. As we explore the remnants of this ancient city, we can't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the legacy they left behind. We hope you enjoyed this journey through time to the fascinating Inca city of Machu Picchu. Thank you for joining us in exploring the secrets and mysteries of this ancient civilization. If you want to learn more about the Inca or other ancient cultures, check out our other videos. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our new videos. The appearance of Machu Picchu, a citadel constructed by the Inca people in the 15th century, continues to intrigue scientists around the world. After decades of debate, many archaeologists and engineers have attempted to replicate what the Incas might have done. They used harder stones to knock softer stones, used quartz sand to grind, and used ropes and ramps to pull heavy blocks. The result, difficult, but theoretically possible. A number of experiments have shown that, with enough manpower and time, the Incas could have created tight-fitting walls, earthen embankments, ramps, and the organization of community labor, all contribute to explaining Machu Picchu without the need for alien theories. Scholars emphasize that the real power of the Incas lay not in steel tools, but in solidarity and social organization. Thousands of hands, months of labor, all for the common good. That was their greatest technology. But the questions have not disappeared. Although archaeology has put forward many reasonable hypotheses, there are still details that are hard to ignore. The almost absolute precision of the zigzag joints, the enormous mass of the stones, and the silence of history, all of which still make many people believe that there is something left to be explained. Machu Picchu, from a scientific perspective, is a testament to the creativity of the Incas, but in the eyes of those who love mystery, it is still a whisper of lost knowledge. And it is this two-faced that makes Machu Picchu never cease to be attractive. Machu Picchu in today's world. If in the past Machu Picchu was hidden in the jungle, Today, it has become one of the most famous destinations in the world. Every year, millions of tourists from all over the world flock to climb the stone steps, take pictures among the clouds and mountains, to once touch the lost city. In 1983, Machu Picchu was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. In 2007, it was voted one of the new 7 wonders of the world. On travel posters, in books, in movies, Machu Picchu has become a symbol of Peru, even of South America. A global icon, but Machu Picchu is more than just a check-in point. It is a place where science, history, religion, and myth meet. For scholars, it is a lesson in ancient technology and society. For tourists, it is a place to find awe. For Peruvians, it is a source of national pride. And for dreamers, it is proof that the world has too many mysteries yet to be solved. As the dawn breaks over the Andes, painting the stone walls gold, Machu Picchu appears as more than just a monument. It is like a bridge between the past and the present, where modern people can see the shadow of their ancestors, and where history is still alive every day. Machu Picchu, an immortal heritage, the city that was once forgotten, has now become the heart of global culture. And perhaps that is the greatest miracle. A construction that once disappeared in silence is now mentioned by millions of people around the world every day. Machu Picchu lives not only in stone, but also in the imagination of humanity, as an unfinished mystery, as an always open question. As dusk falls over Machu Picchu, the last rays of sunlight fall on the ancient walls, dyeing the stone steps golden-hued, then gradually disappearing into the clouds. The city is silent, like a shadow of time standing there, between the sky and the mountains. We have come a long way together. From the question of how the giant blocks of stone were fitted together so tightly that not even a sheet of paper could fit through, to hypotheses about lost technology, ancient knowledge, even alien intervention. We also looked at the scientific perspective, the labor, organization, and creativity of the Incas. And then we see Machu Picchu today, a symbol, a wonder, a common heritage of all humanity. But perhaps what makes Machu Picchu immortal is not just the stone or the technology, but the unsolved mystery. Because as long as there are questions, this city will live. So what is Machu Picchu? An Inca city? A divine observatory? A message from a lost civilization? We may never have a complete answer, but perhaps we don't need one. Because the lack of answers is what makes Machu Picchu a dream carved in stone, a dream that humanity continues to dream together.